Battle the Bulge day by day, where we step through from both sides, covering strategies for each day. So this is December 16th for the Allies, and I won't lie, sometimes there's not a great deal to do, but there are some things to think about. So the initial blows are probably going to fall up here around Bleilf. Over in Losheim, where the Germans can usually expect to sweep aside the 14th Cavalry, although sometimes you surprise them, but not this time. And the last one, usually around down south somewhere. And this time they do not make it across. So your span of choices as the Allies is a bit limited because all your infantry can't move, but there are still a few things you can do here. The first thing I usually do is get CCA of the 9th Armored out of Beaufort and up to Bastogne, because it can get there in a single strategic move, but loses that ability when the Germans cut the highway at Longville, which they will. So you want to do that as soon as possible. The other big thing you can do is watch the German player to try to figure out what their strategy will be. Are they going to ignore Bastogne? Are they going to try to take it early? Are they... And the related question, of course, are they trying to win on victory points, or are they trying to rush to the Meuse? So, too early to really tell that yet, but they threw some pretty heavy armor into supporting an attack here in the south, which tends to make me think they're probably not going to head for the Meuse. This guy, I do not want to become Panzer Chow, so what I'm going to do is pull him back here to Spa. And that will keep the Germans out of this victory point center and hopefully block them from driving up to Verviers. 90 minutes, that's good. We really want time to move quickly. Now, 109th Infantry, we hardly knew you. Okay. So now I can pull back CCR of the 9th Armored. The reason I was holding them in Loulange until now is that as long as the 2nd Panzer was standing by here in Dasburg, these guys were blocking them from using the bridge to go right into Loulange. But the 2nd Panzer's moved, that boat sailed, and so now I can do something else with these guys. And I think I want them generally up in this direction. And since the Panzers have moved aside from here, they can probably do some good in Houffalize. So if the 116th Panzer was still up here, you wouldn't put him in Houffalize because the Germans can just hammer them. Now that the Germans are down here, though, the only thing you really have to worry about is Panzer Lehr, and that's still a good couple days away from being able to get to Houffalize. And you really want to hold Houffalize if you can, because it is a crossroads almost as important as Bastogne to the south. Oops. But it has better defensive terrain. So I like to do that if at all possible. Okay, now here comes the reason I haven't moved the 102nd Cavalry just yet. Because it depends on how well the 99th does here. Pretty well. Okay. That means that I can safely get the 102nd Cavalry moving. Here's what I was thinking here. The 99th Infantry did amazingly well down here. Usually they're either destroyed or forced to retreat. If they're destroyed, you do not want the 102nd Cavalry back here, because then, first thing tomorrow morning, the Germans can storm across from Elsenborn into Eupen, crush you like a bug underneath a Tiger tank, and exploit right into Verviers, where you don't want them. On the other hand, if the 99th has been damaged and forced to retreat to Eupen, you want the 102nd in there because you want to increase the odds, however small they may be, of the Allied forces in Eupen not being destroyed so the Germans can exploit into Verviers. As it happened, neither of those things took place, which means you might as well get the 102nd onto the road net so you can get it somewhere it can do some good as soon as possible. And with that done, those are pretty much all the moves you can make as the Germans on the 16th. This might seem like a tempting time to go get a cup of coffee, but don't. Because if you pay attention to where the Germans move in what order, you can get some good information about where they might be aiming the brunt of their strategy. The Germans don't actually have that many panzer units. I know it doesn't look that way, but they don't. They're high strength, but there aren't many of them, which means that they need to be concentrated at the point of decision. So if you can examine the movements of those panzers, you can figure out where that point will be. So okay, so the 106th Infantry gets hammered into the carpet. But if you notice here, the Germans have moved their panzer units heavily towards the south. They're not all that interested in advancing on the northern sector, which tells me that they're probably not going to go for the Meuse. What they're going to do is try to take Bastogne, hammer the weaker reinforcements that come in this southern sector into pulp, and then win on victory points. So paying attention during the 16th, even though it might get a little boring watching your guys scream and panic, can pay off. And there's dusk in the end of the day, so thanks for watching.